when we were talking about the question by the jury, you said you weren't quite sure how that works into the charges here, and I want to submit this to you. So the idea, I would imagine, is because they want to hold it, they want to compare it, right, to the taser. And if they're doing that, when you look at the man too, it says basically that the person was not aware of a risk, but should have been aware of it. It could go to that. The idea that there's such a difference between the two. With all of her training and all of her years of experience, she should have known the difference. It goes on to say intentional conduct that the defendant may not have intended to be harmful, but that an ordinary person would recognize could cause harm to others. Raising the level of the force used there, whether it's a taser or a gun, could be considered that, or it could be that choice, that mistake in choosing the gun rather than the taser. That could be the choice that they think she should have known better than to make. So your thoughts on whether that may be something they're looking at with this Man 2 charge?
Yeah, I think that's where they are, Michael. So one of the phrases that you utilized just now was, an ordinary person. And again, I just want to be clear. I think there's a whole host of policy reasons that have not been addressed and will not be addressed because this is not a political situation. But, do we have technology to allow people to get traffic tickets in the mail for having expired tags? Do we really need to chase 20-year-old boys who are not a violent threat through the community, whether it's to prevent the accident that we've seen occur as a result of the shooting or other problems? These are things that I just hope that this case will allow policymakers to develop. But to your question and to your point, I think that at the end of the day, the question is going to come down as to whether or not Officer Potter, acted in a way that was so reckless that she deserves to be punished credibly. And the point I wanted to make initially, is she an ordinary person? I don't agree with what occurred here. I do think that there should be some level of accountability. But was this an ordinary person, or was this, this was a police officer, operating under the color of law and operating under policy? Now, there's arguments as to whether or not she broke some policy or followed some policy, and that's been disputed at length. But was she really an ordinary person, or was she in an extraordinary situation that she should not have been in? I don't dispute that, but was she an ordinary person? If I was defense counsel, I would put forth that she was not. She's a police officer, right? This wasn't you and I at a park defending some, running a good Samaritan routine. This was an extraordinary situation, and she has extraordinary powers, and I think on some level there's some discretion that comes with that.
Let me ask you a question, and I would tend to agree with you there for sure. One of the things that I was wondering about was during her testimony on the stand, there was a point where she essentially said to the effect that she never meant to hurt anyone. She meant to pull her taser, right? And the idea was that that was some sort of admission that this did not require deadly force. And I'm wondering if you think that might be something the jury is considering. Her own words, suggesting that I never meant to use deadly force. Everyone is suggesting I had the right to use deadly force, but I didn't really think I needed to under those circumstances because that's not what I was trying to do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be impactful. Despite, what I just said, I don't think anything that I just said is going to be in that jury room. They're going to be focusing on the rules and the statutes, and her words clearly indicate that, she made admissions as to shooting him and ultimately, her role in using the taser. And, apparently she's violated internal policies, and I think it's going to be a huge part of what's going on. But again, I think that if we're going to give these issues the rational debate they deserve, if you hit somebody with a taser that maybe doesn't deserve it according to policy, and it ends up being a situation such as this, does that rise to the level of involuntary manslaughter, whether it's in the context of recklessness or negligence? And, I don't know. That's why the jury is clearly working through that issue. But I do
wonder,
think
Jamie,
that,
let me just stop you for a second. I wonder, had it been a situation where she pulled the taser, he was hit with the taser, he drove off, Officer Johnson was hurt, he hit some other people, they may have been hurt or died. I'm not sure that this would have been a case where charges would have been brought under those circumstances. I think it
I,
goes to this mistake. I think that's where the issue comes in, no?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that, this happens all the time. Unfortunately, kids are hitting with these tasers, running from a scene of a crime and so on and so on. And kind of going back to my original point, I don't want to belate it, but, I mean, why are we even doing this? Why are we chasing people over traffic tickets and shooting them with electricity? It's really outrageous, in my opinion, as a society. Is that Potter's responsibility to respond to? I don't think so. There's just no question that this was an accident, and I think that holding officers to a standard to have to make these decisions this spontaneously going forward is really going to have a harmful effect on their ability to enforce the law. And so as citizens and as policymakers and attorneys and so on, what is our role? Is to change the law. I mean, there's just no reason that this young man shouldn't have had his license plate photographed and a ticket sent to him in the mail. He was just no threat. And to the folks that think that everybody that has an outstanding traffic warrant should be arrested, I suggest to you, you're wrong. All of these incidents that we've been dealing with, starting, we can go back over, the last several years, 10 years, and address. They all start with some really ridiculous infraction that ends up being a violent encounter with the police. And it's not healthy to the police. Like, they don't want to be in this situation either. And I think that's important to keep in mind.
But we have to remember, there's two things we have to remember, Jamie. Number one, there was an outstanding warrant involving a weapon, and there was a restraining order out. There was a woman in the car. Of course, this is what the defense said. So it wasn't just a silly traffic thing. I think once the warrants came into play, I think things ratcheted up a little bit in terms of how the police decided to deal with this situation. But your points are absolutely well taken, and I could not agree more about dealing with situations in the street. As a matter of fact, I think there was an edict out by the local government and the police that they weren't supposed to be stopping folks at that time for those reasons or arresting for those type of misdemeanor warrants, recognizing that these issues happen as a result of these low-level problems, which they never should. All right, Jamie, stand by. We're going to take a break right now. One of the biggest moments